Hey, Kyle.
Good morning.
Get this going.
Made it just in time.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to deal with training stuff right now that I forgot about.
Training today, or?
Yeah, up in Hayward.
I gotta lift my laptop. Gotta find an easier way to lift this.
Sydney, are you awake?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. My AirPods are connected to both my phone and my computer, which it says they're supposed to be able to do, but I wasn't sure how that was going to go.
Oh, well, you sound good this morning.
Yay!
Looks like,
good, because I don't have the old computer, so it's like it's this one or done.
Hey Sid, what do you think about me going live on TikTok?
Yeah, do it.
I'm not logged into Heart. I wonder how that would work.
I mean, you can go live and tell them that we're over there. I did a post.
Yeah, I gotta get logged back into TikTok. I got logged out when I got the new phone.
Oh yeah, I hate that. Chris, did we go live in the Bead Maker? Oh, perfect, you did. Awesome.
Yes.
I was going to turn that on so that I can see who's leaving the comments.
Yeah, I was gonna say, unfortunately, that's just how it is. It's because they're private groups.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally get that. If I just have it open, then I can see. You know what I mean? Here's creepy. My coffee's being delivered this morning, so I haven't gotten any yet. Just fair warning.
Who's delivering your coffee?
Mike, he has a day off.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, well, that's silly for us to both drive down there. But, you know, because of the kids, it's a little bit...
Well, yeah, it's Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yes. Yes. So the state workers, they get the day off.
Yeah, Cheryl's school district doesn't do it.
No, neither does ours. But Cameron's online school does it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, both my kids had to go to school. They just Mike doesn't have to work, so. Shoot, and I lost my page. There we go.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How are you, Kyle?
Go live a little bit on TikTok, see if people will jump on here, jump to Bead Maker and Coffee.
Cool.
Oh, cool. How you been?
Whew, it's been a good couple weeks. I feel like time is flying by. I cannot believe it's already the middle of October. Like, what the heck? We leave for SEMA in what, 3 weeks from today? Is that right?
Yeah.
Crazy,
3 weeks. Dang, SEMA's almost here.
crazy. Yeah, so just getting ready for that, getting stuff kind of lined up. My schedule in my shop's out of control. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
Yeah, things are picking up again. I think we had a little bit of a slowdown for work.
Back to school is always kind of a little slowdown, isn't it?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely
People
kind of
just trying to.
September was a little slow, but now I'm
Hmm.
getting hit up a lot for bigger projects again. So
Yep. Cool.
interesting.
Cool. Yeah. So I don't know what it looks like to everybody else, but just in case, if you guys, oh, they can't see the comments, can they, Chris? They don't
No.
see the stream like we do. Okay, never mind. Anyway, so one big piece of news that has happened in the last couple weeks since we've been here is that our PNS Detail Products, the Bead Maker Lounge group, finally opened up on Facebook and has been great. We're so excited about it. To be honest, it's probably been something that has been in the works for quite some time. We just never kind of pulled the trigger, if you will. So we've been talking about it. We've been kind of game planning about it and deciding when was the time was right. But we felt like it was now, and it's been great. We've had a lot of people join. If you have not seen the joining links, if you're watching from YouTube or something like that, so it is called the Bead Maker Lounge, a PNS Detail Products support group on Facebook. And you just click to join and answer a couple questions. Make sure you answer the questions or it'll automatically decline you. And so make sure you check that out. It's just kind of we've gotten so many requests for just a professional group. There's a lot of groups out there that, are interesting to say the least. And so, our vision is to have just a very professional detailing group that obviously provides a lot of support for the PNS Detail Products lines. It's just a place for people to share their information and ask questions. And, the Bead Maker and Coffee, gosh, what have we been doing this now for about 2.5 years?
Yeah.
It's a great resource for asking questions and getting answers, but it's, only 2 hours a month, basically. And we get a lot of questions via all of our social media private messages. And, they're great questions. And sometimes we think, man, I bet, 100 other people have the same question. So it's been great. It's been great to, I think my favorite thing about it is that, we try to answer all the questions, but we don't always have the best answers. I mean, both of us still work in our shops and things like that. But as we all know in detailing, there's a lot of different ways to do things. One way doesn't mean that another way is wrong. And that's something that we really support. And people do things different ways. They do processes different ways. They use different products for different things. So, I think my favorite thing is watching other users answer the questions and support each other. And so I really do. I'm super excited about it. I've been loving it.
Yeah, there's no, what you just said, there's no, I guess, one way to do something, but there are some wrong ways to do some things.
Yeah, sure.
And that's what this resource and the Bead Maker Lounge can be, is kind of, where people can give some cautionary tales and,
Yep.
where we can talk about good good results and also bad results, and steer people in the right direction to make a good decision. And I'm excited for that. So,
Yep.
So I know you've been busy. I've been busy.
Yep.
What product stood out to you this week? What blew your mind?
Oh gosh, I'm going to say two, because for those of you that get the newsletter, I'm sure you saw my tip. And I think that was my favorite thing these last couple of weeks. It's funny how during the appointment, I've always just get excited to do this part. So I'm going to give two, because one of them is going to be clearly obvious. It's going to be absolute. So we obviously still, are putting Absolute through its paces, even though we did a pretty thorough, test. It's been fun since Absolute's been released to continue to put it, to the test. And so, for those of you that don't get the newsletter, my tip this week was using Absolute as your door jamb cleaner, which obviously we had said from the beginning it could be used for this in its waterless wash form or quick detailer form, however you want to put that. So it does great on door jambs. But what I have found, and we get really dirty door jambs here because, we live in the desert, everybody's active, drives up in the hills, all that. So we're talking dirty door jambs. So my favorite process has been using Absolute, which I did remember to bring because we did release the Absolute spray bottle in the last couple of weeks. So my favorite thing has been to use the Absolute spray bottle. So I have this at 128:1 in this bottle. So it's in the Clay Lube Quick Detailer dilution. So a little bit heavier. So I pre-spray the door jambs with the 128:1 solution. And then I'm using my steamer, which has distilled water and Absolute at the 256:1 in it. And so I pre-spray and then use the steamer to go over it and wipe away. And it is the craziest thing. Like, it's so slick. And the door jamb just shines. It's super easy to clean. But I just think my favorite part that I notice again is the slickness. Epic and paint gloss, they all work great on door jambs. They clean it, they do the job, but this is like that slickness that's just crazy. Crazy. So that's my first product. My second one, man, I've probably talked about this a couple times, but it's still just no rub. I see a lot of new vehicles, and the grills that they're putting on these cars is insane. It's absolutely insane. All of the plastic honeycombing that's going on up front in cars is just crazy. And so for me, it's just no rub. I mean, just puts that it makes the car perfect and it makes the detail perfect. And, it's so easy to wipe off the paint should you get any on there. So no rub still just stands out for me. And I love that stuff.
I hate those grills, especially it's really GM is kind of the biggest offender.
Yeah.
I know that I just did a Genesis and it had a honeycomb grill, and Lexus, but the chrome ones are always full of like calcium deposits just sitting there.
Yep.
So I've been using our water spot remover during our wash, and I just pre-spray the whole grill with water spot remover. And I'll agitate with like one of our nice black soft synthetic Detail Factory brushes.
Yep.
And then I go ahead and just do my foaming and wash as normal.
Yep.
And it just breaks down all the calcium deposits that were just sitting there. Those grills have been a pain in the butt. But if you do it at the beginning, during the wash, it'll save you a ton of time, because we've gotten to the end and gone, oh dang, look at this grill. Because everything else looks great, and then you're looking at so we've had to bust out the water spot remover, and then we actually used Absolute and just soak down the grill, and then we had to blow it dry. It wastes time. So make that part of your prep process. And I would say probably the product that stood out to me that just killed it for me the last 2 weeks was Clarity Cream. I don't know what it is about mom's minivans. I think it's because they run them through the car wash, and then the car wash doesn't do a good job of drying. But the side windows on those Toyota and Honda minivans are just covered in water spots. And so we had to bust out the Clarity Cream, and I had to teach my guys again how to use it the way I want them to use it, because they were totally missing the edges, which is the most important part. Where we would roll the windows down, buzz the edge, clean it, roll the window up, and then polish the whole window. It just made the glass look deep and shiny and almost invisible, where it's just, it almost doesn't exist. So Clarity Cream definitely killed it many times, including my own truck. And Sydney knows this because I've complained to her enough about my next door neighbor who's just a rocket scientist and decides that getting my truck wet is okay. And so I had to clean my windows on the side of my truck again. And I went over there and we talked. We had a good talk. She knows not to water the truck anymore. I told her it doesn't need to grow. Yeah. You don't need to get it wet. It's already a big enough truck. And so, funny. Yeah, Clarity Cream worked great on the windows. And now I get to go and sometime polish the side of my truck and get the other spots off that won't come off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I still love Clarity Cream as well. I had to do the same thing on a GMC truck this week that, I got all the way done and I just kept looking at it and it was just those fine little speckly. And so I just finally busted out the Clarity Cream.
And a lot of brand new vehicles need glass polishing now.
Right.
Because I don't know what it is about the dealership and the recon that's going on after COVID, or if the vehicles have been sitting. I know, I've heard that Ford has like 40,000 trucks sitting somewhere. Yeah. But brand new RVs, all these things are just covered in spots. One truck we did, you could tell that they acid washed it because it had like that acid residue.
Yeah.
And the only way to get it off was to use a maroon buff and shine pad and Clarity Cream, and just go to town on it until the glass looked great.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool. All right. We have lots of questions coming in.
Good.
So real quick, Chris, because I don't want to miss this one. So Mike's Auto Detailing, I have been paying attention to your messages. My problem is my kids are in sports right now, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to attend that day. So I'm still trying to figure out my schedule. So he's been asking if I could be on a call with him. So I'm still looking at that. Honestly, I have so much going on at night right now with the kids that's like the last week of sports. And so it's a little bit crazy. So I'm still checking on that, but I didn't want to totally ignore your question. So, all right, let's get into questions. My coffee's here. So excited. Adam Garvin says, what's the release time of the headlight coating that can drive in the rain? Thank
you. Man, driving in the rain. How long? You usually top your coatings with bead makers so they can get wet, but there's still a few hours there.
Right. So this is actually a good question. I would say, Adam, honestly, 24 hours, but I still think that you want to use bead maker or
Sol.
Yeah, bead maker or Sol over them. And here's why. So this is a true story, full disclosure. So what was it, about a week and a half ago, I was doing some video work with the rag company, and my daughter Delaney, for those of you that don't know, she has kind of a newer Chevy Trailblazer, and it's coated, has been the whole time since we've had it. And we were doing some video work on actually deep finish and inspiration. So her car happened to be home that day because she had us take her to school because she hasn't had an away volleyball game. And so I was like, oh, let's use Delaney's car for this video because her hood is so beautiful. So we used the polish that we were using to strip off the inspiration that was already there and has been for about a year and a half, has been totally fine. So we polished, stripped off the inspiration, and basically restarted, but only did the hood. And put a coat of inspiration on it just for the video. And so this is where sometimes with video, you end up cutting a lot of corners because you're only doing the steps that you needed for the video, right? So we put the inspiration on, still did the paint prep and all of that, still did it correctly, but put the inspiration on, pulled it out of the garage, went on to the next video. Didn't do bead maker, didn't do a second layer, didn't do Sol, literally one coat of inspiration, pulled it out into the driveway. Had a freak rainstorm about 5 hours later. Had no idea the rain was coming. Her car's normally in the garage. It was out that night. It's kind of a weird deal. So she sent us pictures that morning, and the beads were insane, right? So I sent this to our double black group on our text message. The beads were insane, looked amazing. And I even said, like, this will be the true test for rain, how quickly a coating, unprotected virtually, right, can be exposed to the rain. And to be honest, it's not within 5 hours. So the coating does not look great. So the weather heated up very fast. The water dried on there itself. I can't even describe what it looks like, but we need to redo it. That's the best thing I can tell you. So that was too soon. So Adam, I think the moral of my story here is that even when you're doing Lucid or another coating on the headlights, I would still put the bead maker on. About 30 minutes later, throw a coat of bead maker on there. Because then I've had plenty of vehicles that have been rained on within 24 hours that have had bead maker or sole and have done perfectly fine. So I think it's just that it needs that extra sacrificial layer while the coating cures, because we are still looking at, a 24 to 36 hour total cure time on the headlights. So I would just throw sole over them or bead maker.
Do you think it was the water drying, or do you think it did damage during the rain? Or if you would have dried the hood off or blew it off, it would have been fine?
I don't know that it would have been fine, to be honest. It looked, I don't know, maybe drying would have been fine with like a good, like mass amounts of absolute or something like that, which, still isn't totally recommended. So what it kind of looks like is like feather scratches, if that makes sense. So it's not scratches, it's not marring. It's like, it's really hard to explain, but it looks like feather scratches all over the whole hood. It'll be super easy to fix. I mean, I'll probably just have to buzz over it with Envy and then, finish the coating job. But yeah, it wasn't great. And it was pretty soon. I mean, we're talking, it literally rained, we finished at 2 and it rained that night. So it was pretty soon. So, yeah.
I guess if you're going to coat headlights and, you give it 30 minutes, you hit it with bead maker, and they drive home in the rain, just tell them to blow the headlights dry, get the water off of them, so they don't sit there and, with water, and you should be fine.
Yeah.
That'd be the procedure I would give them, because I know where you're located, you're going to have rain all the time.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to figure that out for your climate.
Yep. Yeah. I think just the bead maker is going to make a difference for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Next up, Han says, Sydney, what did you do to your hair? It looks really nice. Must be bead makered if you ask me. And Kyle's head is glowing also. So, well, thank you. I think my hair looks terrible today because I didn't do anything to it. I actually haven't done anything since Saturday, so I brushed it, but thank you. It probably does have a lot of bead maker in it. And so that's another funny story that I've told before, is that when I do go get my hair done, I have to go quite often, and same with my nails, because my hair lady has to strip the bead maker out of my hair. So it does, for me specifically, which is maybe why Kyle's head is glowing as well, is when we aerosolize it up in the air, it does land.
Maybe
it does gather in my hair.
The ring light's funny on it.
Yeah.
I'm glistening a little bit because I literally left the gym at 6:05. So yeah. But thanks.
Yeah.
I wish I had hair.
I wish that I had short hair. Okay, so JD says, I topped up Legend on my personal vehicle with Soul this weekend. Does that require a 7-day no wash? In my opinion, yeah. I think that with all the coatings, you should wait the 7 days. For sure.
Yeah, I think that's just the best.
I mean, procedure. At least 5. At least 5. Yeah. 7's great.
Hold on a second.
We got a lot of people just joining. All right, so this one, for some reason, my chat on here.
This one's,
okay.
this
So
one's
it looks
Tony.
Tony. Okay, Tony. So Tony Mazel says,
He's
can
a
you hound
troublemaker.
Bob and Ian to ensure we have 100% spray bottle availability on psdetailproducts.com? So yes, that's on my list actually, to hound both Bob and Bob and Ian about the spray bottles. So yes, so within that group, we did find out this weekend that there's a couple that are not on the website. So yes, that is on my list today, Tony, to talk to Ian about, to get those listed. I think specifically it was the natural finish and the bug off. And, everybody loves the labeled bottles. So yes, we will make sure that those get on there. No problem. All right. And then another one, speaking of the new grills, I wonder how come this doesn't show me. Mine come up like way later. So speaking of the new grills, tons of bugs and butterflies down here. Besides the bug off, is there something you guys can recommend to apply on the grills to prevent the bugs from sticking so much for next maintenance details? Oh man. So obviously coating them makes a huge difference. And this was one of those things that years ago when I first started coating, I would try to not try to skip the grills, but a lot of times I didn't, I was maybe using a product that wasn't as favorable to applying to the grills. So coating them obviously helps a ton. Even if, and I've had some vehicles that I just do maintenance details on, but if the grill is really intricate and really difficult and I do maintenance on it all the time, I mean, there's no harm in just quickly coating it in Sol during one of your maintenance details. And really, you're not going to charge the customer for that. You're doing it for yourself on the back end to make it easier. And I'll do that sometimes when I know that the customer is going to be coming back often, for maintenance details. I don't mind doing that because it takes, 2 minutes. So obviously coating them makes a huge difference as far as bugs. The bead maker can absolutely make a difference. It's just with bead maker, like all other sprays, we have no idea at what point it wears off. So in the event that it wears off prior to their maintenance detail, you may still be dealing with those bugs. So you may not have damage, but it may still be sticking. So as far as sticking, that's really coating them is the only thing I've noticed that.
Yeah, I've just had good luck with airbrushing inspiration into all those tight areas. One reason it's so much easier than sitting there with an applicator and doing every single one.
Yeah.
I usually have my guys do that, especially on that lower bumper.
Yeah.
I'll let them just sit there, crisscross applesauce and just coat. It's not just coating the bottom, like the part you can see, it's coating above it too.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get those rings and those drip marks. And if it's reflective, like if it's a chrome grill, you literally can see the reflection of what's above it in it. So, Inspirations worked great for me. Put that on, top it with Sol. And then one thing I've done for maintenance is I've just sprayed bead maker all in the grill, let it sit and bead up, and I've just blew it dry. And then just kind of blended it in, so it's getting maximum protection. But yeah, coatings are going to be the best. I would coat it.
Yep. And then you can always, if depending on how you're using your bug off, mine's usually diluted 1-to-1, but I have had vehicles with really baked on bugs, like ones that have been on there for a long time. So in those cases, I will spray it full strength into a Jersey bug scrubber, and kind of isolate those areas with full strength bug off. You can absolutely do that as well. But then, protection's obviously the key. So, but you could kick up bug off a little bit if you needed to. Yeah, Andrew says, when in doubt, use more bug off.
Yes, okay.
Yep. Too funny. All right. So Josh says, I can't wait to see you guys at SEMA. For those that are going and want to stop and say hi, what is the PNS booth number? I have no idea. But what I can tell you is that we are in the West Hall, right? The new one, is that what the new one's called?
Yeah, the new West Hall.
So most of the detailing and auto reconditioning is in the new West Hall, which will be brand new to most of us. A couple people went last year. We did not go, so we have not been in the West Hall, so we're super excited about that. I don't know what booth number it is, but we have seen a sneak peek of our booth, and I will say you won't miss us. You won't miss us.
It'll have PNS logos on it.
Yeah, a few. Yeah, you won't miss us, but I do not know the booth number. So
yeah, we can look it up really quick.
Yeah.
I tell you what, well, I'm trying to look, but I'm not sure these are actual booth numbers. 51169.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Tell you what, we're right across an aisle from Rupes. So if you could find them, because their booth is literally like 4 times larger. So if you could find them, you'll find us.
Yeah. Yep. You won't miss us. I promise. We'll be there.
Just walk up and down the aisles with your eyes open. You'll be all good.
Yep. Yeah, we're super excited. The booth is going to be really fun. Yeah, follow the smell of Dream Maker. That's exactly right. Okay, so Gabriel says, not a question, but just a reminder for all that it's a perfect time for fabric coating and inspiration view. Yes, absolutely. So the fabric coating, I've actually been using this quite often lately on some of these new vehicles coming in, using it on the carpets and things, and that's been great. But also, it's so great for backpacks, shoes, everything. I mean, not that it wasn't a good idea before, but everything costs so much money now, right? Like these shoes and stuff, they're triple the price that we used to pay. So we need to keep them nice. And so, so that fabric coating does so great on Converse, Vans, the backpacks. We use it on a lot of stuff here, but, on the carpets and stuff too, it's so great. Just, again, on those maintenance vehicles, it's going to make your life so much easier when you go to clean those carpets. So it is a perfect time heading into winter. Probably Chris and Kyle probably don't understand when you don't live at a place that's true winter with snow and dirt and mud and salt and stuff. They don't really know what that is like.
I don't know what real winter really is.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever. It gets down to 60 here. That's freaking cold.
Right.
Yeah, we can visit winter. It's in the mountains, but it's, we just take a day trip and say hello, and then we go back to our lives.
Yeah. If you don't have to walk in your new shoes through snow and mud, you don't know what winter is. It's Nope. So yes, perfect time for fabric coating and inspiration view, of course. Makes a huge difference on and who was it that had that cool video? Was that William with inspiration view? I think it was William on TikTok. Yeah. The inspiration view on the windshield, a must. One, it makes such a huge difference in the rain, but 2, because of the winter coming, huge difference with ice. The ice and the snow just tend to not stick to it. And so it just makes, if you do park outside, it makes getting your car going and safe to be driving, so much easier. So definitely a great idea for heading into fall for sure.
We have some interesting comments being thrown up here. I mean, everyone keeps bringing up the smell of bananas.
Yeah.
That's been a huge topic.
That was a funny one. I did not.
Here, I'll bring that one up. You could address that one right now.
Okay. So when you all getting a banana scent? So Dynamic was banana scent. So I think we should just reserve that for Dynamic and hope that Dynamic comes back. Right?
Yeah. We got to just keep praying to the silicone gods and hope that Dynamic can make a triumphant return. At some point in the future, hopefully near future would be great.
You can still get it in a pint, right?
Yeah. Yep. You can still get it in a pint. I know some distributors still have it in the pints, and then, pnsdetailproducts.com still has it in pints. And, we're hopeful, hoping. I think, I don't know if I'm living in a dream world, but I just keep pretending like it's coming back.
Yeah, I know. It's especially I love that scent.
I know.
Great on everything, and makes me sad.
I love it. I know. I love it. I'm milking. I still have 2 gallons left, so I'm still milking it.
So I think we need to get the scent of Dream Maker in a spray bottle, and then every day at SEMA, we just need to give a mist around our booth.
Yeah.
and like smell-o-vision, get people like, they blow the
Yeah.
smell at Disneyland of fresh,
Yeah.
baked
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need. We need our booth to smell like either Bead Maker or Dream Maker or bananas all
Yeah.
week, every
I
day.
wonder if Dave could make us wax melts with our scents that we could put in like, a Scentsy warmer in the booth or something. That would be
Dang.
pretty funny. I'll have to ask him about that.
All right, Dave, we got some ideas. Totally.
That would be pretty fun. I'll have to see about that. That'd be cool. That would
And
be
then
fun.
there's someone's talking about looking for someone in a thong. I didn't hear
Hmm.
about that one. You must have some inside information.
I missed that one.
Yeah,
Missed that one.
someone said, I think it was Alex,
How funny.
Jamie. They want to find Rennie in a thong, it looked like. That's what it said.
That's funny. We have talked about disguising Rennie at SEMA just so that he can move about. We'll have to that, but that might not disguise him. All right.
No.
ATD says, how long does inspiration last? So this is a loaded question, and we love to talk about how long coatings last. So it depends. It depends on what it's on. So I know you're looking for the easy answer, which is we kind of put it in there in the 3-year coating category. But we here at PNS don't really like to put a for sure time limit on the coatings, just because it's going to depend. Are you putting it on a daily driver? Are you putting it on a classic car? Is the car garaged? Is it not garaged? Is it going to go through the car wash? What's
Yeah.
the paint condition underneath? I mean, there's so many variables that go into how long a coating's going to last, that for me personally, I just work with each individual customer on this. So I take their situation and I give them how long I think it will last on their vehicle. So say somebody comes in with, because I just had this the other day. So like what are they, like a 2010 FJ Cruiser, right? Black, it's parked outside its whole life. It's super beat up, but he wants to do a coating to kind of stop time where it's at because he wants to keep the vehicle. He doesn't really want to have it painted. He doesn't want to put a lot of money into the paint, but he wants the aging to stop, right? So we talked about coating it, gave him the options for the coatings. And what I told him was, given the condition of the paint, the amount of correction that we're going to be doing to it, which is minimal, the fact that it parks outside, the fact that it already has fatal defects in the paint, like it already has paint clear coat failure, the fact that he's still going to run it through the mountains, through the trees, he's still going to run it through the car wash. I told him we might get a year, 2 years out of inspiration. Now, if somebody comes to me with, a 70 Charger that's going to be in a showroom the whole rest of its life, inspiration's going to last 10 to 15 years, so it really just depends.
And were we talking about lasting as how long it's going to be on the vehicle? Because it's not leaving the vehicle unless you're going to buff it off. I feel that when people are confusing longevity with performance.
Yeah.
And so, I've had vehicles that performed for 3+ years already with inspiration. But I've also had some vehicles that lost its performance after about 18 months.
Yeah.
But those people use their vehicle in a pretty extreme manner, like, parked in industrial areas or near airports or rail yards, take them off-roading. They live in the mountains. The coating's still there. It's just not performing. It got clogged up. So really claying it, cleaning it, stripping it, and topping it to get the performance back. But yeah, I'm going to say inspiration is going to last anywhere between 3 years and 1 day. And it's up to you to take care of it and make it last longer. But I've seen it do some pretty amazing things on some vehicles, and others I've seen, older paint. It just didn't last as long as far as performance goes. It was still there. But.
I really think these questions are really just the opportunity to continue to educate about coatings and how long they last. And honestly, it really always worries me when I see all those posts out there and people focus on the year of the coating. And I just, it's funny to me that, some of the advertising is all like, oh, I put a 5-year coating on, I put a 3-year coating. It's like, put the name of the coating, but to lock yourself in on those years, I just feel like some of those are going to come back to bite some people.
It will, because you're setting
it will, yeah,
unrealistic expectation for your customer.
Yeah. Yep.
And some people will go, oh, I paid for the 9-year coating, I never have to do anything to my vehicle.
Yep.
That's true if your vehicle sits inside of a garage for the next 9 years. Yep. But even then, the dust can mess with the coating if you go to wash it. Yep. So yeah, you got to be careful with the buzzwords. And really just educate the customer on, look, this has a projected longevity of 3 years
for their specific vehicle. Yes.
Yeah.
So give them expectations for their specific vehicle. And I also, for me with my customers, I definitely don't draw that hard line. Like, I don't say, okay, it's been 3 years, we have to redo Inspiration. If their coating's still performing, I say, let's do it next year. And I promise you, the returns you're going to get on that honesty with your customers is going to far exceed that one coating that you sold. Yep. So, be honest with that too. I've pushed a lot of my Inspiration customers to 4 years. And actually I've been doing that just recently because I'm kind of at that 3-year mark since I switched over to Inspiration. So now I have lots of vehicles coming in that are at that 3-year mark with Inspiration. And about half of them, I'm pushing them out 1 more year. Just because they've stayed on top of the maintenance really, really well. They're garaged vehicles. I have lots of customers that wash their own vehicle. And so I think that's just, that's like my big message that I want to get out there is really tackle those timeframes on a case by case basis with your customers. So like everything setting
Anthony.
Okay. Like everything, setting expectations is maybe 50% of detailing, coating lifetime, coating ability, stain. Absolutely. Yeah. So, you just don't want to get yourself in trouble and making promises that in a couple years you can't back up. So, yes. And that goes with everything, give your expectations on stain removal, scratch removal, headlight restoration, all of that. Cause then I hear people say too, headlight restoration, like, oh, you'll never have to do it again. Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. I've never seen a headlight restoration last the whole rest of the vehicle's life. So, just for sure, be super honest with your, deal with your customers on a case by case basis and how they treat that car. And then there's obviously different manufacturers, right? Like, because to be honest, a coating on a Mercedes is going to last way longer than it is on a Dodge. You know what I mean? Just because of the substrate. So, just don't make a blanket time frames. Try to stay away from that. Okay, Tom from Buckbright. Yes, we are both going to SEMA, Tom. We're so excited. Yes, we will be there the whole week. And super looking forward to it. So hopefully you will be there and we will see you. And I need to get a hold of you regarding that I finally got to use the new For Real. So for those of you that haven't seen, the For Real has a new improved head for the For Real. And now it's supposed to last longer and it's got kind of some bigger pieces in it. It works great. So I finally got to use it. So I'm going to contact you about that because it was great. Loved it.
Hi, Alan. Cheers from Tijuana.
Cool. Okay. So JD says, I keep hearing how slick Absolute is. Compared to Beadmaker as a topper, is it just as slick as Beadmaker or still the goat is Beadmaker still the goat of slickness?
Yeah, Beadmaker still is. It's just a unexpected slickness that you get from a rinseless wash.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't intended to do that, but it does it, and it's pretty unexpectedly awesome. I just don't know how to describe it other than like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it's kind of a different slickness too, to be honest. So
it's more like a glide.
Yeah.
It's not the same as Beadmaker where it feels like a thicker body slickness. Mm-hmm. It just feels like the towel just moves. Yeah. Or the mitt moves. um, in a I don't know, in a
Yeah.
different way.
It just makes it super, super clean. And the slickness is, yeah, it's just a different glide with the towel. And then bead maker's more the slickness that you feel with your hand,
Mhm.
more so than the towel. And but then, I mean, let me just prepare you for this, putting bead maker over absolute. That's pretty slick. It's a whole different, right? Whole different thing. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, absolute's awesome for slickness, but it's just a different slickness for sure. Okay, so Lomas says, can you tell me the difference from the PNS waterless wash and absolute pros and cons? So Epic, difference between Epic and absolute.
Yeah, so Epic is meant to be a waterless wash, so it's designed to be sprayed on the surface. It's a thicker product, and it's meant to lift that dust. I feel like Epic is more of a, well, it would fit in the category of just a wipe down for the
Yeah,
vehicle, where
right.
Absolute was intended to be more of a rinseless, where you would use it in a bucket.
A true
Um,
wash. Yeah.
yeah, you're just not rinsing the vehicle. You use it to clean and then you dry, so you don't have to use a ton of water.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it can be a waterless wash. So Absolute can be a waterless wash,
Mm-hmm.
but Epic is just a waterless wash.
Right. Yeah. So it's a ready to use. There's
Yeah.
a lot of totally different ingredients. Epic is ready to use. It's a very thick product. It's a very thick spray. And it does have some protection in it, right? It's got some carnauba in it and things like that to kind of leave behind some protection. It's meant as like, yeah, a quick, like a quick detailer bumped up where it's
Yeah,
safe to
exactly
use
what I was going to
as a
say.
waterless wash. So it is meant to be a spray and wipe, one and done type product for when you're kind of out and about. So I do get the question a lot. Will I still use Epic? Because, and specifically in my newsletter article, I addressed that, Epic was always my go-to for door jams. So obviously I love doing the door jams now with Absolute, but I will still totally use Epic. So for me, where Epic falls into my personal detailing is I still prefer Epic as the pre-spray for really dirty cars. Not that Absolute doesn't work, but the reason I like Epic as the pre-spray is it's thicker. So it holds on to that surface for a little bit longer. And it does just as good of a job for the encapsulation and to kind of start that process and make it safe. But I just like that it sticks on the surface because of the body of Epic. So personally, I will probably still use Epic as my pre-spray on really dirty vehicles, prior to washing with Absolute. And I'll probably still use it on, lightly dirty door jams. I don't need to get my steamer out to do, lightly dirty door jams. But Epic is a ready to use. So that is going to fall into where, a lot of people are going to keep Epic in their car, for kind of quick cleanups, car shows, car meetups, things like that. And, because you can pretty much use it to clean up anything, even on the interior of the car. So, Epic's still great, but waterless washes that are made to be ready to use and rinseless washes are actually completely different products meant to do totally different things.
I like that idea. I would use Epic as like I would keep a microfiber towel and Epic in the door jamb or in the door
Yeah.
pocket of my truck, for some cleaning while I'm out and about. I'm not going to keep Absolute in a big old 32-ounce bottle.
Right.
Epic's already in a bottle, so that's what I would
Ready to
use.
go. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
ready to go, ready to use.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Great question, though. All right, we got a bunch more, and we're getting close on time. So,
Okay, Tony says, is cockpit stronger than express interior for those nasty disaster details? Or what's your recommendation for the nuclear option for the real nasty ones? Oh, we have a nuclear option. It's Kyle's favorite product. Did he freeze or did I freeze?
He froze.
Okay, good. It's not me. Yay. So Tony, this is funny because this
Kyle
is
jumped back in.
This is Kyle's favorite product. So, so to answer the original question, is Cockpit stronger? So I do feel that Cockpit is a little bit stronger. So it's got some other things in there that make it different than Express. So it does do a really good job at cleaning. So occasionally I do actually grab Cockpit when cleaning dirty cars, and I don't dilute it. And it is stronger. So yes, it is a little bit stronger. But when we're talking disaster details, and the nuclear option for me is EnviroClean. So last year, both Kyle and I went through several cases where we had really dirty cars, and when we would talk, we would say, is it an Express day or an EnviroClean day? And that would tell us how dirty the inside of the cars were. And so definitely EnviroClean. And I don't remember the dilution. I'm going to say like 8-1 or 10-1, probably 8-1. And obviously you want to be super careful. You want to do a test spot. I have never, ever had EnviroClean leave any damage, but I just like to give that disclaimer. Make sure you do a test spot. And obviously if the interiors of the cars are this disaster, you're going to be fine using EnviroClean. So EnviroClean with the Express Sidekick, man, can just rip through a disaster detail for sure. Be careful with it on the leather. Just, always make sure you're spraying it on, the scrub mitt first, not directly on the seats. So I switch back mainly between Express and EnviroClean, throw Cockpit in occasionally. Cockpit, I just love the smell of it. So I like to use Cockpit every now and then just for a change in scent. But yeah, EnviroClean for sure. We lost Kyle totally, didn't we? Okay, Pristine says, I used to give clients Bead Maker for coating maintenance, but for some it's hard to use. How do you think about if I mix up a bottle of Absolute for a quick detailer for coated cars instead? I think that's a great idea. So two options here. I think because same thing, I wish that I could give my customers Bead Maker, but it makes me nervous, like putting it in the wrong hands, because I don't want somebody to have a bad experience with not wiping it out all the way off. So you absolutely can mix up a bottle of Absolute. I think that's a great idea. I think it's great because they could use it on everything, right? Windows, to wipe up their wheels. They can use it on a lot of different things. So I do like the Absolute for a quick detailer. The other thing that I really like to give my customers, though, is paint gloss. The reason I like paint gloss is because it kind of does everything too. And it's, I'm not sure with Absolute, the longevity of stability once it's mixed. That's the only thing that we don't have any hard facts on. So my hesitation in giving it to them, if they're going to take a long time to use it, would just be that stability of that product mixed up, at the 256-1 dilution ratio. So I like to give them paint gloss, one, because then it's in a labeled bottle. They know exactly what they have. And paint gloss is going to have, just a little bit extra protection for them. And so I give a lot of my customers paint gloss. You can absolutely give them Absolute. It's just going to be, the labeling situation. So, but if you're comfortable with that, I've got some little 2-ounce bottles that I got off Amazon. And so I've been giving customers little samples of Absolute like that. But as far as like the 16-ounce size, you might want to stick with something like paint gloss. But, and just because paint gloss can do everything that Absolute can as well, maybe minus cleaning windows. But I think either one of those is going to be good options. But yes, I wish that Bead Maker was an option, but I do think that you want to be careful about that, getting it in the wrong hands. Welcome back, Kyle.
That was crazy weird.
Yeah, you froze. And it's a bummer because we were talking about EnviroClean, so it's a bummer that you froze.
I know. So I jumped back in and it says I was backstage. I could see you guys, but you couldn't see me. So
darn.
Yeah.
Darn. So
we
were just on this with Pristine about giving Bead Maker or what kind of as a maintenance. So I suggested mainly paint gloss. Absolute's great, but I would maybe do in smaller doses. We just don't know on stability for absolute how long it's going to last once mixed up. My guess would be several months, but I know for me, some of my customers still have, 3/4 of a bottle of paint gloss after a year. So
Yeah.
just since we don't know. All right, then we've got, this one's going to be for you. When detailing the inside of an RV or travel trailer, do you use the product geared towards auto detailing or general household cleaning?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. So most of the things I do inside of an RV, I would use are automotive detailing products. Really, the only time I switch over to something that is a household cleaner is really more for the wood. If someone has um, real wood in their RV or their wood looks really dried out, I've used Pledge before because it just smells so nice and it makes the wood look nice and glossy. But other than that, I probably would use Absolute for a lot of stuff now. For the longest time, I've been using glass cleaner for the mirrors, for all the piano finishes, for the countertops, the fridge, all the exterior stuff. I would use Express for like the laminate floors. I would on a Swiffer or a steamer. Um, Pretty much with Absolute and Express Interior, you could clean the whole inside of an RV. Whether it's the leather, the countertops, the floor, all of it could be done with those two products, the dash, the carpet. But really, I only go for the wood. I can use EnviroClean for the toilet and toilet bowl area. That's the one, actually, there's three things I hate cleaning in RVs: inside a fridge, the toilet, and the shower. I usually make my guys do that and I'll inspect it. I just don't like finding other people's hair. It's different in a car. I don't know why, but yeah, that's pretty much most of it. One thing I do similar to RVs that I do in cars, I like to open all the windows, all the doors, and I like to take either my Ego blower or my Master Blaster, and I like to give everything a nice blowout. Even open the vents and blow the dust out the top too, because there's always dust on the vents. But if you give it a really good 15 minutes of blowing, get all the dirt and dust and hair and all that out of there, man, it just makes it so nice for the final details. But yeah, most of the surfaces in there can be cleaned with automotive cleaners. Express, glass cleaner, Absolute, paint gloss.
Yeah. So I have a question then, because just thinking about this, my only answer to go into a household cleaner would be the stainless steel sink. I still choose Barkeeper's Friend. So would you use Metal Bright on a stainless steel sink? Because I've just never tried that. So
yeah, I've used Metal Bright inside of the stainless steel.
Is that kind of like a soft scrub situation?
Yep, exactly what I've done. And part of it really on the RV, it's not the same quality as stainless steel that you have in your house.
Right. Yeah.
I've actually had to take a little bit of water spot remover because right where the sink ring meets the stainless steel, I find rust sometimes. So I've had to hit it with a little bit of acid and clean it there, and then I just rinse it down. But it is a little different. But most of the other surfaces, you still have a lot of leather, so you can use, either leather conditioner treatment or you can use natural finish. There's still usually a dashboard and vents and windows and. I would caution you to be careful removing people's screens. They're not this, nothing is made the same way it used to be. They used to be so much more solid, stronger. I've had people pull their screens out and completely bend them, just popping them out. So I try not to clean both sides of the screens anymore. I just kind of clean one side and blow it out. And open it and close it and clean the jambs the best I can. But I don't take screens out anymore. Lesson learned. Just like we talked about earlier for Bead Maker Lounge. don't remove them because you'll end up paying to replace it. If you want it done, then have the customer take them out.
Yep.
But yeah, that barkeeper's friend would work well for that too.
I do love that stuff. All right. This is a great question. So can NV Dueling polish be used as a coating prep instead of a panel prep? If yes, what steps should be followed to install a PNS ceramic coating?
I would say I would still use paint prep after.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why, there's still going to be some oils there, but yeah, I would use NV or any, a number of polishes before coating, because it not only cleans the clear coat, it opens the pores and allows the coating to bond better. It kind of resurfaces it. And then paint prep is there to be the final cleanup. So I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah. I think this is probably coming from, some of the buzz terms in the industry as we hear about these primer polishes. And I know that they're out there,
Yeah,
we've used them. And they work great. I don't know what's going on with my hair here. And so I think they're probably asking if it's like that. Like, can you just go straight to coating? And our answer is yeah, still use the panel prep. And to be honest, even with these primer polishes that are out there that I've used, I do like them. I like the idea of them, but honestly, I still use panel prep.
Even if you're doing a really light paint prep, you're just misting the
on the towel
microfiber and just,
yep.
I just feel it ensures the bonding.
Yeah. I still do that. It freaks me out. I mean, I get it, but yeah, I still do a light wipe. I let it sit for the hour or whatever that you're supposed to, and that's great, and it looks great, it works great, but I still do a paint prep because the idea freaks me out.
Yeah, the idea of seeing the vehicle in a year and it, the coating has failed because you didn't prep it properly.
Yeah. And in my mind, the one I use specifically, you're supposed to wait an hour because, the amount of SiO2 that primer polish has in it kind of cures after a year. So my thought process in that is that if it has done its job and cured to the paint and prepped the paint like it's supposed to, then I'm not going to harm that by doing a panel wipe. So I just do the panel wipe as insurance.
Yep,
so
exactly. Yeah. You're just making sure there's no dust on it, no finger oils or yep, exactly. So I would still recommend using paint prep.
Yep. I like this.
Yeah, I can't even see all the questions anymore. They disappeared when I jumped back in.
I love this one from Pristine. He says, because, we were talking about EnviroClean days, like when you and I say, is it an Express Day or is it an EnviroClean? Now we can add Absolute Day. That is so awesome.
All right.
Yes. So let's hope for Absolute
rare
Days. Yes, they are rare, but I get them every now and then. So I'm gonna add that to my. That's when things are going good.
Yeah,
it's an Absolute Interior Day. Absolute actually does a lot of work on the interior, for sure does. I think my thing with it is that I really like the sudsing effect of Express. And so, I know that Absolute does a great job on interiors and it will be great for those quick wipe downs for sure. But I do still love Express. It's still.
I have a Ford trimmer, F-250 trimmer that we're going to go do right after this. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be an Absolute Day. This guy takes care of stuff. And may use Express on the leather, but all the door panels and everything else, I'm pretty sure we're going Absolute. He just takes care of his stuff, which is nice.
That's awesome. All right. One more question from Jamie the Cleaner. This is a great question. Any plans for a PNS primer polish since we are on the subject? We haven't really talked about it, to be honest. It hasn't really come up. It's something that Kyle and I use, and we do a pretty good job at pushing Dave on a lot of stuff, and it's not something we've brought up to him. I know that we're both big fans of it and big fans of the process, but honestly, we just haven't talked to him about it. So
it's one of those things that we would have to. All right, it's one of those things in the industry like rinseless wash, where we would have to show our results to Dave for him to, so because he understand.
Yeah.
Because Bob said it best when they were on your the cleaner cast, is PNS was really good at making soap and really good at making cleaners, but Absolute is a soap without suds. And it really had to be understood because it's a kind of a niche within our industry, a different category.
Right.
And
And
so is the primer polish. It's not exactly how you were making a polish with very little oils in it, but we're cleaning the paint, but we're also leaving behind a little bit of SiO2 to help it bond. It kind of is we have some contradicting things there that we would have to show that it would work for Dave to be like, okay, let's do that. He
and it
doesn't
would have to
like that.
be, and it would have to be one of those things like with Absolute, is it would have to be something that was so much better than anything else out on the market
Yeah.
to put the effort behind it. And so it would have to be better. And in my opinion, which I think all of us would love, and I'm not even sure it's possible, is I would like to see a primer polish that actually filled, right? So like an all-in-one that would actually, because we know we all have those cars where we cannot get out all the scratches, or, specifically black cars, you know, um, we can take a black car and do a 50-50, and we can run a great all-in-one on one side, the paint looks great, and then we can, full correct it and coat it on the other side, and that side does not look as good as the all-in-one side.
Yeah.
But it's more protected, right?
Yeah.
It's much more protected, and it's truly corrected. It's not just putting, lipstick on it, where the all-in-one side is just lipstick. But I wish that we could figure out how to get the results of an all-in-one that would hold and that you could coat over. That would be my goal, but I don't know that that's even possible because there's nothing on the market like that, that can actually fill those scratches or hide them and then have the coating not re-put them underneath a magnifying glass. So
well, here's the problem with that. Years ago, I did that. I used a product that was supposed to fill and coat on this gorgeous red Porsche that I spent way too much time correcting. 3 or 4 weeks later, I went and saw that Porsche. Everything showed back up.
Yeah.
Every bit.
Yeah, because the solvents get in there, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's the problem, is the solvents in the coatings are going to dissolve whatever filler was there.
Yeah, and so right now our closest thing to a primer polish would be Envy, maybe even Ultra Coat polish, but still got to paint prep that well, because it's going to leave behind some stuff. Deep Finish would work great as a primer polish, still paint prep, and all you're doing is, but it's not priming. We're not leaving anything behind with those where it's going to bond the coating. And I guess that's the idea behind a primer polish.
Yeah.
But I love how Bead Maker and Coffee has different themes. Like every week we end up getting into something.
Yep.
And I guess we figured out that primer polishes are this thing.
This week. Yep.
Good morning,
so
Brett.
Sarah
Thanks
says,
for joining us.
Yeah, so she says, can you still use NV Dueling on a coated vehicle? Absolutely. So yes, so it is going to be a great, if you have pretty minor marring, surface scratches, like maybe where people grab the handles and stuff, NV works fantastic on kind of resetting the coating. So if I have a vehicle come in and say, they've ran it through the car wash and it's got some marring and stuff, I'll buzz over the whole car with Envy and then throw a coat of Sol on. That whole process maybe is an hour and a half. So yes, it's a great product for coated vehicles. Specifically, right when you coat the vehicle, if you have a high spot, you can literally put Envy on a towel and rub out that high spot. Super easy. It works great. But yes, for resetting. If you have something that has deeper scratches, more significant marring, maybe specifically cat prints. I have a couple cars that, they live on farms and cats crawl all over the hoods, and I have to pull out, the UCP to get those kind of more major scratches out. But yeah, Envy's awesome uncoated. So those two products are both going to be
do your test
amazing.
swap and see which one is going to give you best results
Yeah.
for that vehicle.
Yeah. Yep. Because Envy's going to remove less of the coating, so just depending on what you're needing to do. Yep. All right. Can you talk about the no rub coating? So yeah, it is an aerosol coating that is very fine mist, and you can use it. I call it like my, final touch spray. So it is great in the vents inside the car, inside all the little nooks and crannies. Like before I apply my dressing, I'll go around and all the little tiny cracks and crevices, maybe like the buttons on the door for the windows and things like that. If they have, a lot of new cars, they have all these little compartments in the center console. I'll hit some of the corners of those because I don't necessarily want to spray dressing on there. So I'll hit all the little corners that you can't reach with your dressing applicator. And then on the out, so if you think about it, it's kind of like a hairspray can. So it's kind of that consistency. So it's like quick shot, right? And so I use it on vents. I use it on all the nooks and crannies. On the exterior of the car, I will use it a lot around the license plate if it's the black plastic. I'll use it on the grills, around the tailpipes. Like I just go around in like every little spot that I can't reach with dressing. It just makes it look crazy. And then the other really cool part about no rub is in the door jambs. So the plastic covered hinges. Is that what those are called?
Yep. The rubber boot.
Yeah, the little rubber boot around the hinges.
Yep.
Those always get dirty and we get them clean, but they fade and look nasty. And so that will just make those look brand new. It's great inside the engine. So just any of those really tight spaces that you can't reach with typical dressing. And why it's called no rub is because you literally spray it, it sets, and you never have to wipe it. So it's really, really nice.
It was a little confusing with the no rub coating.
Yeah.
Because no rub coating has been around a lot longer than coatings have been around.
Yeah.
So you're coating it in basically a silicone shine.
Mm-hmm.
Where I've used it is in grills or around like those, just that quick, like need to touch it up. And on the window cowling on the older vehicles, not so much the newer ones are more simplified, but those older ones had some really intricate edges where you had to get it from both sides. So what I would do is I would hit that area before I cleaned the front windshield and before I did bead maker to the hood, because you're going to get some overspray. So then clean your window and then go ahead and bead maker the hood so it kind of wipes and cleans that area.
Yeah. And it is easier to wipe off. So when you're doing the cowling, or even like one place that I use it all the time is on Ford F-150s, the rear bumper top is all plastic and it's kind of tight in there, right? So to try to spray that with a dressing, and you can't really put it on an applicator because they're right. So you have to spray it. And so if you spray dressing on paint, it's a little bit harder to get off. So I use that on those Fords all the time, especially because the plastic goes way up underneath the tailgate, like back behind. And that is the spot when the customer's walking up to their car, they can see that. So I use it on that little rail right underneath the tailgate all the time on Fords. And so for whatever reason, I use it a lot on Fords. Just because of the way that their back bumper is, and it works great. And then same with the windshield, you are going to get overspray, but it wipes off so easy, so much easier than a traditional dressing. You're not going to be smearing it in the window and all that. It's just going to wipe right off.
Yeah, I like our no rub coating. It's a good product.
Yeah, I use it.
I'm happy with the update that we worked on over a year ago now, right?
Yeah.
It had a new look for a little while. So
Yep. It's awesome.
Well, cool.
It's awesome. All right, guys. Well, it is 8:40 and we should probably get to work. I know like the sun is all up and everything now. So
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We have one more episode of Bead Maker and Coffee prior to SEMA, which also back to SEMA, we do have our Bead Maker Lounge in our SEMA booth. So
yeah, and I think
Bead
we have
Maker
a
and
couple
Coffee
of
will be there.
we have some events coming up before SEMA. This Thursday,
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
be at
yeah.
detailing.com with Rennie,
Mm-hmm.
doing a class there. So in Irvine, California, you can sign up for that if you give those guys a call. We also have, actually that day I do Bead Maker and Coffee. I'll be helping Richard do the LA Fire Museum. So we got some really cool fire engines to work on. And then Rennie has the party on Wednesday night at SEMA. So if you haven't signed up for that, go to the Rennie Doyle or Detailing Success Facebook, and there's a link there for signing up. But yeah, a lot of good stuff, a lot of parties, a lot of time to meet people at SEMA. Is there any other trainings coming up between now and then? Does Prentice have anything, Chris?
I think he's training this week, right?
Yeah, he's this week. Yeah. So.
Cool. Did we lose Chris?
Possibly.
Possibly. So yeah, lots coming up. Make sure that if you have not joined the Bead Maker Lounge on Facebook group, do that. It's a great group. You can always ask questions, give suggestions for this show on there too. So make sure you join that, and everybody have an awesome day, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris.